What is up, everyone? Today, I'm happy to announce that I am on Team Poseidon for the Summer Olympic Games June Readathon in shelf space. Signups have closed, the teams have all been made, and now you all know that Team Poseidon will win because I am on Team Poseidon. And I have just a ridiculously large TBR for the month of June. And hopefully I actually read a ton of books. We'll see, though. And you can only read one book per prompt, but some of these prompts I have a few books for, just in case I'm feeling somewhat ambitious. So I recorded this whole video and forgot that I didn't put The Black Coast by Mike Brooks anywhere on this, and it is my Discord's Book of the Month pick, so I'm going to have to fit it in somewhere, guys. So we'll see where that gets fit in. But yeah, this will be the live show at the end of June with Potato Brarian, aka Amy, and it'll be on my channel. We'll have a nice, fun 1 hour long live show. Up first, we've got Zeus. Read a book that features a kingdom or a patriarchy. For this, I've got Boom, A Brief History of Neoliberalism by David Harvey, and this is definitely a patriarchy. We've got Chilean president here, Augusto Pinochet, and in the Chilean constitution, there are definitely patriarchal provisions or whatever. And Chile recently voted to have a referendum on that constitution late last year, and they're kind of in the process of doing that now. But Pinochet was obviously, the military dictator in the 70s and 80s of Chile, and he implemented horrible reforms. He did a terrorist attack in Washington, D.C. I mean, he just did all sorts of horrible things. And then we've got Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, definitely some far-right figures here. And it discusses how these neoliberals implemented policies that hurt regular working people and were really helpful to corporations. And it's not too long. Look at this. I think it's going to be under 300 pages, I think. So not a ton of points, but I'll be able to get through it quickly. And I'll definitely be discussing this in my Discord. So join my Discord if you are interested in learning about A Brief History of Neoliberalism. Up next, for the Team Poseidon prompt, pick a book with lakes, rivers, or oceans, just a book with water. And for this one, guys, it's the meme book. It's a meme at this point. I will actually read this in June. I've said I'm going to read this a million times, but I promise. And I did start this, but I may just restart it, to be honest. But because I've started this, I know that the introduction talks a lot about Hurricane Katrina, and obviously that makes it fill the prompt for Poseidon. And it talks about this guy named Milton Friedman, who maybe you've heard about, but if you're a normal person, you probably haven't heard about him. But he's an economist, and he basically has a lot of these economic theories that have historically not worked. He's often associated with Reaganomics. And the reason Hurricane Katrina is talked about in the introduction is because Milton Friedman advocated for the Bush administration to privatize schools after Hurricane Katrina, because the hurricane destroyed almost all the public schools. So now New Orleans is in a situation where they have a bunch of private schools. There's a school voucher program, but it just doesn't work as well. And a lot of people complain about their school system now. And it's just less good. It's more expensive. It's kind of like how our healthcare in the United States ranks as having the worst outcomes among first world countries, but we actually paid the most for our healthcare. It's the same thing with New Orleans schools, where they pay more, get less, because for-profit schools, I mean, obviously they want your money and they care less about the education of a community in comparison to a city council or a school board, which would care a lot more about a community's education rather than a private company. And where the shock doctrine comes into all of this is, remember how people said George Bush was handling Hurricane Katrina in a incompetent way? But the argument of the shock doctrine is that no, the Bush administration was doing exactly what they wanted to do. They didn't want public schools to come back into play. They wanted the privatization. They wanted the private schools because they had subscribed to this Milton Friedman Reaganomics idea that has just not worked historically. But it's good for corporations, and George Bush has many corporate donors, whether it be, healthcare companies or private schools and charter schools and stuff like that. So he just wants to help the people that funded his campaign, basically. And yeah, anyway, political rant's over for most of the video, I think, hopefully. And yeah, the shock doctrine, Naomi Klein. Everyone should be reading Naomi Klein. Up next, we've got Hades. Read a book with the undead or a ghost theme. So for this one, boom, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. People said this fits for Hades. I don't really know if it does or not, but this book is Magical Realism, 100 Years of Solitude. And this dude, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, is very awesome. He fought against dictatorships in Latin America in, like the 50s, 60s, etc. He was also a journalist and apparently a book writer of magical realism. So yeah, this is like a South American classic, and I definitely want to read it, hopefully this month. It might not be the best book for a readathon because of how much it very likely will make me think. So if one of the books on this list gets pushed to the side, unfortunately, it might be this one. But I do want to get to this at some point this year. It's a South American classic, so gotta read it. Up next, all right, we've got a few options for this next one. Hestia, read a book with the found family trope. So this is one of the books in the Murderbot series. I think this is book 3, Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. So yeah, I'm told there's a found family trope in here by Charmaine, and it's short, so that's very cool. I'll see how much I like Murderbot Diaries this month and how much of it I can get through. And then the other two books, boom, books 2 and 3 of the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. And yeah, these two books, I enjoyed the first one quite a bit. It was fun, it was fast. So I hope to get to these two. These could go in the found family trope, or if I read book 2, obviously I could put book 3 as, the last in a series. And yeah, that is the plan for that. Also, my camera's being really weird. Wow, I'm so bright. No, now I'm not. Up next is Hephaestus. One of those pronunciations might be correct. So, boom. Naomi Klein, on fire. Oh yeah, the prompt is pick a book with fire on the cover. So, boom. Both fire on the cover and in the title, on fire. The burning case for a Green New Deal. Naomi Klein, as I said before, was awesome. This is one of her more recent works, and yeah, I'll see if I get to it. I read the introduction of this a while ago, and I just haven't got to it. But yeah, this is like a collection of essays, so I guess it could go under Apollo as well. And yeah, it talks about the climate strikes and how urgent we need to do something about climate change. And this will also talk about climate injustices along racial lines, which is something that, the center-right liberal media usually ignores. And in fact, they have contempt for a lot of times when it's brought up by actual left-wing people. And I'm sure I can throw an example of someone in the center-right liberal media doing that, maybe a PBS host or something.
Senator Sanders, I do want to put the same question to you, Senator Sanders. What message do you think?
I'll answer that question, but I wanted to get back to the issue of climate change for a moment, because I do believe this is the existential issue.
Senator, with all respect, this question is about race. Can you answer the question as it was asked?
I certainly can. Because people of color, in fact, are going to be the people suffering most if we do not deal with climate change.
But yeah, very important. We should read this. Up next, Dionysus, which I know I'm pronouncing correctly. Read a book with a red or white on the cover. For this one, we've got, boom, Capitalist Realism by Mark Fisher. Half the cover's red, so we will count it. And as you can tell, very short. Definitely very easy to just read and get through a prompt. But Mark Fisher's pretty awesome, guys. The Vampire Castle is an essay that he wrote, and it's online. It's for free. You can read it. And a lot of my thoughts on cancel culture and wokeness, whenever I think about those two things, I think about the Vampire Castle and that essay. So I figured might as well read more of Mark Fisher's works. And yeah, capitalist realism, if you don't know what that is, that's basically that it's easier to envision the end of the world than it is to envision the end of capitalism. So yeah, I mean, this should be very, very thought-provoking, especially for how short it is. It's under 100 pages, so I mean, it's going to be good for filling a prompt, but it's going to be bad for, getting a lot of points for page count. But that's okay. We'll have a lot of fun with this book. Capitalist Realism, Mark Fisher, boom. Up next, I believe this is book 2 in the Murderbot Diaries, and this is for the Hermes prompt, read a book involving travel or vacation. So yes, Martha Wells, book 2, I believe this is book 2, and yeah, apparently Murderbot might go on vacation in this one. I'm not totally sure if that's what's going to happen. Oh, by the way, I didn't describe Murderbot, but basically it's a bot called Murderbot whose job it is to murder people, other bots maybe, I'm not sure. But work is tough. You don't want to get up every day and have to murder people. That's such a pain. Wouldn't you rather just sit at home and watch telenovelas? And that's the concept of Murderbot, which is awesome. And I think we can all relate to Murderbot. So yeah, definitely going to try to read some of this Murderbot stuff. Artemis, read a book with moon or night in the title or on the cover. So this one I've only got this, but book 3 is the book that I want to read in this City of Stairs series by Robert Jackson Bennett. And I think book 3 is called City of Miracles. And the cover looks kind of like this, but there's a hole in the top of this fog, and it shows a guy's face, but with his face it's nighttime and it's a starry sky. So that will definitely count as night. And yeah, I've enjoyed this series so far. Basically, in this series, we're in a world where the gods used to have a lot of power and then they lost power. But when the gods did have power 100 years earlier, the people who were favored by the gods had a lot of power. They were colonialists. They were the hegemonic power of the world. But when the gods lost their power, those people lost the power as well. And the oppressed group became the oppressors. They became the hegemonic colonizers of the entire world. So it's a nice, fun switcheroo of hegemonic powers. And all 3 of the books follow around a different character, and book 3 follows around the objectively best character of the series. So I'm very excited for book 3, and it's one of the few books I have with night on the cover, so I've got to get to it, I think, if I want to complete the Hermes prompt. So yeah, definitely going to read that this month. Up 4, we've got another Murderbot diary book, and this is for Apollo. Read a book in non-traditional format, i.e. verse, mixed media, graphic novel, or novella. These are all novellas. They're short, so maybe I'll read one of the Murderbot books for this prompt, but I also might read one of the books in the Every Heart a Doorway series, which I read for the Mental Health Readathon, which was super fun, and I enjoyed that book a lot, or at least the first book in the series, and those are novellas as well. So I can, fly through one of those audiobooks and have a good time. And I'm told the second book in that series is a bit more of a thriller. The first book definitely had thriller vibes in that Every Heart is a Doorway, and I forget what the second book is called, but I mean, it should be fun, even though thrillers are a bit outside my range. Maybe it'll be fun to switch it up, Up next, we've got a placeholder, and no, I don't think I'm reading Indigenous Peoples' History of the United States. Probably later this summer I'll read this book, but this is a placeholder for Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie, and I finished the first Law trilogy later last year, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited to get back into the world. Joe Abercrombie writes great characters. You guys probably all already know who Joe Abercrombie is. Oh, and I'm sorry, Best Served Cold is for Aries because military fantasy. And I know Joanna is also maybe possibly reading this month, so if she doesn't read it, then I probably won't read it, and I'll read something else because I've got a ton of other things to read. But I definitely would love to talk about that book a bit with Joanna. It would be a bunch of fun. Anyway, moving along. So, boom, Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This book is a new release, the newest release on the list, and Victoria Aveyard is from my hometown. So when I was reviewing like the Red Queen series, I would do rotary analysis videos of the ridiculous rotary in my town. But yeah, I mean, like the early people who have read this book have said great things about it. Jordan, who is my fellow Team Poseidon friend, has said good things about this, and Portable Magic has also said good things about this book. So definitely excited. I've got high hopes. Red Queen was a series where a lot of people liked the first book and then didn't continue on with the series because they fell off after like the second or third book or whatever. And I think Victoria Aveyard will do well with kind of just like a new world to build in and talk about and create. And that's what I hope Realm Breaker is. Also, this could be used for Poseidon as well because I'm told has water in it. Not just from this map, obviously, which has what a beautiful map, and it has a lot of water in it. But people say like the water's important to the story. So yeah, definitely excited. Up next, we've got Hera, which is the opposite of Zeus. Read a book that features a queendom or matriarchy. So for this one, boom, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And this book is just massive. Look at all that. And yeah, I don't know if I'll get to this. If I'm feeling like a big book, a big epic fantasy, I'll read this. If I'm not, then I won't. I hear good things about this. I hear there's a lot of political intrigue, which I like. There might be some amount of dragons, which is cool, but I don't think this is like super dragon heavy or anything. And I hear there's a queendom, so hopefully that's true. Or else I don't know what I'll put this book under, but yeah. Up next, we've got some military fantasy, which I have a few options for. Guards, I'm currently reading now. Maybe if I like this and feel so inclined, I'll read book 2 next month. Oh, my live show for this will be today when this video is coming out with Joanna and Joanna. So if you want to see that, definitely tune in at 1 Eastern time. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. Were these supposed to be military fantasy? What did I put for military fantasy? Oh my god. I think I put Best Served Cold for military fantasy. But this one could also be military fantasy, The White Rose, because, yeah. But this prompt is for political intrigue. Huh. And I'm not sure if Guards, book 2 would be considered political intrigue. Okay, we might be calling some audibles, but also in this pile of political intrigue, I put the Dragon Republic, which could also be swapped around with military fantasy. So, yeah, those two prompts are kind of fluid, the military fantasy prompt and the political intrigue prompt. And then the next one is Essos, which, of course, I have the first book in Murderbot's Diaries, which I've talked about 3 other times in this video. And this is the only series I plan on starting this month. So, yeah, definitely this. And then Nyx, which is the last book in the series. I've got The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I just finished The Six of Crows recently and did a review, and I enjoyed it. So hopefully I'll enjoy this one as well. Also, a book that I want to read is Brandon Sanderson, The Alloy of Law, which is book 1 in Mistborn Era 2, which I probably can fit in under political intrigue or something somewhere. I might start this month. We shall see. And yeah, that's everything. So like, comment, subscribe, and make fun of me for having the largest TBR ever and not coming close to finishing it. And tell me what you guys are reading for this month. And good luck in the readathon. Go Team Poseidon. I wish you guys who are not on Team Poseidon the best of luck trying to get into second place. So yeah. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later. Join my Discord.